we have Don Livingston, and he is the biggest MMA fan that I've seen in a very long time.
Sorry.
Not in size, but in spirit. So I met Don in Strikeforce Miami and found out that he covers, how many events do you cover per year?
I went to 14 events last year.
Alright, I'm saying cover, but he goes for fun, and that basically what it sounds like to me from your history is that you live and breathe for this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. UFC, Strikeforce, Bellator, local shows, everything. I love MMA.
What first got you started in MMA?
Well, you go back to that whole, I started watching the first UFC, and then after that, I kind of got away from it for a while, and then picked it up again. Always had a wrestling background, just like combat sports, and got back into the UFC, and then just branched out into all parts of MMA.
What have you seen, for somebody who's been with UFC for so long, what have you seen how they've developed over time, changes that you've seen? So what is your sort of analysis of their I guess, growing up in the world?
You know, the jiu-jitsu was like magic at first, and then it went to the ground and pound, and those guys were, you know, like the Mark Colemans and things like that. It evolved into, you know, where they were start handling the jiu-jitsu guys. And then from there, now it's to the point where you have to have everything. You have to have the jits, you got to have the ground and pound, you got to have the striking. So it's really evolved into, you have to be completely well-rounded to be a great fighter anymore.
Right. What from the UFC? What are some of your favorite fighters?
UFC-wise, big fan of John Bones Jones. He's real dynamic. You gotta love GSP, especially when he's finishing fights. But I gotta say, my all-time favorite is Nick Diaz. Just the badass attitude, and then you know, the great skills to go along with it. Plus, you know, he gets a real bad rap. I've met the guy in person a bunch of times. He's a cool dude. So you know, he gets a bad rap for being, you know, kind of standoffish and maybe a little bit mouthy. But hey, that makes a great fighter, I think.
And what do you think about Nick Diaz when he called out George St. Pierre at his last fight?
I think it'd be a great fight. I mean, it's something that he wants. He wants challenged, because I've spoken to Nick about this, and he wants challenged. He wants to fight the best guys in the world, and George is the best guy in the world at 170 right now. So I say they got to get together and do it.
Right on. What have been some of the highlights of your experience coming to the UFC Fan Expo this year?
Meeting a lot of the fighters that are the old school fighters. I'm hoping to meet Kimo a little bit later. Just met Ricardo Arona, and not so much old school, but you know, pride fighter that you wouldn't get a chance to see in the States too often. Those kind of guys. Seeing Takanori Gomi, you know, that grappling match. Seeing Takanori Gomi just in a hotel in the United States is a totally different thing.
What are you looking for about the Rampage fight tonight, Rampage,
with all the bad blood that there's been, you know, you can't help but think it's going to be a great fight. You know, explosive. I just hope it's a decisive finish, and it's not just. I hope it's not a short fight. I hope it's, you know, goes for a couple rounds and somebody wins decisively. I think it's going to be Rashad. I think he's a little bit more athletic and a little bit quicker than Rampage.
Yeah, personally, that's what I'd like to see. I have a lot of connection with the Jacksons. I really believe in their camps. So it's nice to see that you have the same opinion. Go, Rashad! But, you know, we're partial, you know.
I've been for Rashad all along, so.
What other fights are you looking forward to seeing tonight?
I'm thinking that the Dan Miller fight with Michael Bisping could be interesting. Bisping's been able to handle the real good Jits guys, but I think Miller's on a little bit of a different level, and I think Bisping may be taking him a little bit lightly, so it could be a pretty good fight there. Plus, Stun Gun and Amir Sadallah, I think, is going to be a barn burner too. Okay,
good. What's your next fight that you're going to come out to see?
Well, I'm hoping to head to a Bellator fight, one of those along the way. Probably next UFC is going to be 118 in Boston.
Okay, good. So you're going to come to the next Fan Expo too?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
Were you part of the first Fan Expo?
Oh, yes, I was.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to continue showing up there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite part about that?
I think a lot of it's the interactions with other fight fans. Plus, you get to see a lot of different fighters in one area. You know, usually with the fights, you're only going to get the fighters that are in, and maybe the fighters from the camps. With this, it brings everybody in and gets everybody together.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Don, for talking to us. We really appreciate it. And